Definitely. And I'm delighted that you've been recognised for your many significant achievements and your contributions to this industry. So whilst it's a little bit awkward, and I know that you don't love it, you deserve it, and you should just stop and, as they say, smell the roses, enjoy the moment, and take this in, capture this time because it's your time, and come up board. Welcome. So I think you need to come up.
Okay, if this was a new business pitch, I'd be so happy to be here. So first of all, my opening line up here is, how did I get here? How the hell could I be thought worthy of this honour? And to try and understand this better, I looked back at history and to see those who had been honoured before me. And there are the princes of media, like Sir Harold, OBE, QBE, MC, MI5, FBI. And it's for people like him, I think, that this title, the Media Hall of Fame, has been invented. But then I also note that there are legends like the very coiffed sales maestro, Laurie Sumpter, and the trailblazers like that gentleman of the business, Peter Harvey. But then, thank goodness, there's Alan Skash. And so me, what is my claim to fame? Let me state for the record that I think I am, ... the one who got away with it. My first boss was Jim Crane, and happily I can tell you that his wife is my guest here today, Shirley. And it was Jimbo that taught me about dealing with clients and making things happen, whatever it took. Jim had a passion for life and for helping young people, and that passion, I am happy to say, because I knew him through to his last days, never deserted him. He allowed me to shine, and back then, I got away with it. I was then offered a job at MDA. Now, let me tell you, going there was like entering Hugh Hefner's Playboy mansion. There were old men with gorgeous young girls, and there were gorgeous young girls with fabulous young men, and there wasn't much in between. But nevertheless, I got away with it. And about then, I got to know a sales rep from New Idea, Peter Zavik, and I thought he seemed like a nice man. He was the first sales rep to take me to a media owner paid lunch. Now, I have to say that George Patz taught me about pride and competition in advertising, and specifically in media. They took what I thought up till then was just a fun job and a good life, and they showed me about business and about winning where it mattered, and being the best was the only option. Now, when Patz wanted to be even bigger and better in media, what they did was poach the greatest young talent of the time, and that was Peter Gallucci. He was this slick back-haired, pinstripe suited, big fat tie Italian that annoyed the hell out of me. I knew that I was getting away with it and I was faking it, but this guy actually thought he was the real deal. Indeed, he later confided in me, not too much later, that he thought he was directly related to Jesus. And so he became my partner in media. We worked at Pat's and we saw truly great young talent emerge, and Mark has made reference to that, and many of those are in the room today. We then inherited Zenith Media from the capable hands of Peter Davey and Alan Skash, and with Peter Gallucci's lead and inspiration, we grew that to become an even greater media business. Harold was a competitor and enjoyed to rubbish us in his inimitable way at every turn, which I know meant he thought we were okay. He could pick a winner at 40 paces, and at that time, Peter was certainly that. And he offered to back Peter and I in our own media agency, as Frankie said, and that was to be called GAP, Gallucci and Parsons. When Peter had gone, I was carried on the shoulders of my colleagues. There was the strength and talent of Mark Pedgick, of Joan Ryan, Cameron Knight, Lisa Grant, Jane Cook, Nicole Boyd, Michael Harms, Kathy Rhodes, Harold, of course, Fiona Mellor, there was Peter Zavik, Graham Yarwood, John McAlpine, Maureen Pavsik, Peter Harvey, John O'Neill, Ray Atkinson, there were many. They supported and they pushed. They assumed I would continue, and simply because of that belief, I got away with it. I saw the industry at its best at that time, and I realised that what I had was actually something more than just a great job in a fabulous industry. I was exposed to all sorts of people doing all sorts of things. John O'Neill, not just a cellar fella in a pink jacket and white. However, I do note today, it's a navy jacket, but there's still white. Hello, Gold Coast, I thought back then. But I must say, no, he's a business person with a great brain and an equally great heart. So who'd have thought it? John O'Neill, that's what I'm talking about. I can define now what I don't think I could have articulated back then, and that is that the Melbourne media industry as a collective is one of the most potent and powerful and passionate movements that one could imagine. And today in media we use crowdfunding and we pay for money to try and make something important and spectacular, to try and get something big happening. And in January this year in Paris, it remarkably happened with Charlie Hebdo, when all of a sudden a whole lot of people got together to really show what they believed. But for you people here in Melbourne, for this industry, back in 1999, I truly felt the power of this industry, and I so hope that it can just continue because it is remarkable. So after that, I took on a national role. I moved from Melbourne to Sydney, Monday to Friday, and there are many in the room that do that, but there is a difference between Sydney and Melbourne. There truly is. The debate on that subject alone is well worth it. However, back in Sydney, I worked with a team of people that still included Marco and Nicole, but it was enhanced by the addition of people like Dimphna and Karen Halligan. And there were some good blokes as well, like Henry Tasia, Chris, Matthew Turl, Phil Phelan. These are all the things that make the industry worthwhile. It was a new breed emerging, and I was merely the facilitator of the attitudinally young and energetic. I saw that there were different types of people, and that media was for the ones that had fire in their belly. And the fire in the belly about something. It could be anything, but if you had that passion, you were bound to succeed. No one could have had more natural fire in their belly than Mark Pedgick. He spoke fire, he made fire, he gave fire, and I think that on more than one occasion, he drank fire. But he taught me about relationships, and I still say there are few better than Marco at demonstrating the trust and integrity required to maintain a long-term relationship. I tried to be able to have as many Pinots at him. I hardly ever got away with it, but sometimes I did. We sold the Zenith business to WPP, and I was part of that transaction. I was lucky enough to get away with that. And it introduced me to a new breed of owners and operators and a different approach to business. And certainly there were some good bits to that national network. But none of these were to do with the global network or talent managers or vision statements or agency culture or matrix reporting or annual conferences. None of that. It was just about the few more great people that you got to meet, work with, and if you were really lucky, could become your friends. I moved to Paris and had the chance to work with SMI. Previously for me, data, schmata, blah, blah. But SMI walked it, they talked it, and because of them, I reckon I got away with it. And working in the new UK market as I do now, I can say with first-hand experience, there are no better thinkers or doers. SMI was built from a belief by Jane Schultz and the architecture of Rob Lansbury and Leslie Jolly, and that business shows brilliance and brawn, and Australia is simply great at that. I think this honour today marks the fact that I have got away with it. And as a precursor to the debate which is about to follow, I would say love blooms better in media when the relationships are natural and grow over time as opposed to over money. Thank you.
Well, congratulations again. And to recognise this achievement, we've had the Herald Sun cartoonist, Mark Knight, create something special, a caricature, especially for Anne, and to represent a little bit about where she lives now. So if you can all see that, you can come and have a look. But it's basically the Moulin Rouge theme. And there we are. Congratulations. Well done again.